Episode 55, Minisode, Doctor Who Update.
Welcome to the Autistic Culture Podcast. Each episode, we dive deep into autistic contributions to society and culture by introducing you to some of the world's most famous and successful autistics in history.
Before we get started, a quick disclaimer on how we use the word autistic. The purpose of this show is not to diagnose the people or characters we discuss as autistic. While some may have announced being autistic, what we're really sharing here is our observation of what is representative of autistic culture. It can sometimes be difficult for autistic people to celebrate our natural tendencies and traits due to the perception of autism as a disorder that needs to be fixed, a long history of damaging medical interventions to get autistics to fit in with mainstream culture, and protective masking skills many of us have developed to try to stay safe.
Whether you are autistic or just love someone who is, your hosts, Dr. Angela Lauria, the linguistic autistic,
and licensed psychological practitioner Matt Lowry, welcome you to take this time to be fully immersed in the language, values, traditions, norms, and identity of Autistica.
Oh my God, Angela, have you seen the new Doctor Who?
You know I have, because I've been texting you nonstop. There have been tears. There have been yelps. There have been glimmers and shimmers and all the things. I have to text you every 5 minutes.
I have not been this excited about Doctor Who since the Capaldi era. I'm so glad that Russell T Davies is back. I don't think anything bad about Jodie Whittaker herself, but I don't believe that Chris Chibnall really got it.
Right.
But now that Russell T Davies is back, it gives me all of the feelings, and I'm so happy about it. And if you are listening to this episode for some reason without watching the 60th anniversary 3 specials, then River Song will chastise us for all the spoilers we're about to throw at you.
So spoiler alerts coming on the 60th anniversary Disney Plus special. Also, if you didn't listen to the full Doctor Who episode, also recommended we go through the whole history of Doctor Who. You'll know why we love Peter Capaldi so much. My favorite Doctor, as I discussed in that episode, is David Tennant. So
yes.
I was, of course, over the moon about this 3-part series. We have much to update you on that did not get into the original episode. Matt, walk us through these 3 episodes and let's talk about what we love so much about them, other than that, as you know, Russell T Davies is my new best friend.
So yeah, and so this is the thing, as we discussed in the Doctor Who episode, David Tennant has been a Doctor Who super fan since he was a little kid. He got into acting specifically so he could be Doctor Who. And so the first episode of the specials, The Star Beast, is based on the comic from the 70s that if you go to the YouTube, the Doctor Who YouTube channel, you will see David Tennant talking about how he remembers the Star Beast storyline, how he remembers the Meep reading it as a kid. So when they were going through all the design process for the Meep, they brought in the original artist, the original writer. They brought in David Tennant, and David Tennant would be like, "Oh yes, that's definitely the Meep. Oh yes, this and this and this and this and this." And because he is a super fan, because he has memorized so many things, he is an authority on Doctor Who, much like Peter Capaldi, which is why they are our favorite doctors. And it's so great to watch David Tennant's reaction to all of this stuff, because he got to come back. He famously said his last line of being the 10th Doctor was, "I don't want to go." So I made a graphic of "I don't want to go" with Russell T Davies taking off his glasses and be like, "Aha," because maybe you don't have to go, my friend.
So what happens at the end of the last season is we don't see the full regeneration. We just start at Star Beast, and suddenly the doctor has regenerated, but back to a familiar face, which I think has never happened before, right?
No, and so this is the thing. At the end of Jodie's last episode, she's regenerating, and not only does she regenerate into David Tennant because everybody was expecting Ncuti Gatwa, her clothes changed to fit David Tennant's clothes because Russell T Davies has explained that it's because he didn't want people, the people who make things terrible all the time on the internet,
Trolls?
to take any scenes out of context with David wearing women's clothing, because he didn't want that to be taken out of context, and for
well, we will explore that ammunition in the Star Beast episode as well, in this whole little mini series.
And this is what I really, really love about Russell T Davies, is because he's gay himself. He's very outspoken about inclusivity. He's very outspoken about a great many aspects of making the world better for marginalized people.
So basically imagine J.K. Rowling and then imagine the opposite. Like, not a turf.
He is the counterforce to J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
And so even before we get to the Star Beast, there is the Children in Need mini episode. It's only 5 minutes long, but David Tennant's 14th Doctor, because he's no longer the 10th Doctor, he's officially the 14th, crashes into Skaro as Davros is creating the Daleks. And traditionally, Davros is in the bottom half of a Dalek himself, confined to a wheelchair. But Russell T Davies has reimagined Davros as this evil Nazi scientist sort of guy, because he didn't want to have that the connotation that disabled people are evil.
Love that.
Davros now has working legs, played by the same actor. In my opinion, looks even more sinister because he's got this, Nazi scientist vibe going, which is the ultimate evil out there.
Right.
So I liked it. I liked where he went with it, and he doubled down on it, because when we get to the Star Beast, one of the new main characters is a science advisor for UNIT who is an ambulatory wheelchair user. Meaning that she can stand, she can walk for short distances, she can move her legs, but she needs a wheelchair mainly to move because I believe she has spina bifida.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. And it's Ruth Madeley, Madeley. She is one of my favorite actors. She's also in my favorite Russell T Davies series, which is called Years and Years, other than Doctor Who. She's amazing. And I think she has, and is a very Shirley Ann Bingham is the character, right?
Yes, and she's very self-aware. There's one moment where UNIT has to run up a whole bunch of stairs to confront the rocket ship, and she's like, "No, I understand. Don't let me hold you back, because there are limitations to being a wheelchair user." And so we've got that inclusivity right there, and we'll get to like the new TARDIS in a minute, but we have that, and then we introduce so when the Doctor is astonished to have his David Tennant face back, and he's like, I wonder why do I have this face? And then he goes to London, and who do you think he runs into as soon as he lands in London?
I hope it's Donna Noble.
It is Donna Noble,
my favorite sidekick.
Donna Noble is carrying this load of boxes. She can't see. He can't see her. He offers to help her, realizes it's Donna, and says, oh, crap, she can't remember me. Otherwise, her brain will explode and she will die because of the metacrisis. So this whole thing. And then Donna Noble introduces her daughter. And if you remember at the final episode, at the end of time, of the final episode of David Tennant's era, Donna was getting married to Sean Temple, and she would become Noble Temple, which is a building, or Temple Noble. So they had this whole discussion about that with the grandfather, who is a great guy. We'll come to him in a minute. But anyway, she married him. The Doctor gave them a lottery ticket, a winning lottery ticket, as a wedding gift to make sure she'll always be taken care of. Because again, he had to wipe her memory of her time being a companion, so her brain wouldn't explode because of timey-wimey things. Go see the episode.
Yes.
But so anyway, her daughter is trans and played by Yasmin Finney. And when her daughter chose her name, she chose Rose, for a reason that is not explained until the end of the episode. So Rose Noble makes all of these dolls and creatures that she sells online, and she's got a very nice job selling them out of her shed. And the episode does a really good job of showing she's being harassed by schoolmates. Her grandmother has a bit of a moment where she's trying to navigate the complexities of, can I say that she's beautiful? Is that sexist? Because I never said it to him.
Right.
Trying to figure out how the whole being trans thing works. And it's a very, I, as a cisgender dude, I thought it was well done. But again, my trans friends have said, yeah, that's pretty good. That's some good representation there. And she's a fantastic character who meets Beep the Meep, the Star Beast. Mm-hmm. And there's a scene where, you know, the doctor automatically assumes that Beep the Meep is a he, and they have a conversation about pronouns because, you know, like, what do you mean he? Why do you assume that this creature from beyond the stars is a he? And it's like, oh, good point. What are your pronouns? I prefer the definite article. And this actually relates back to I think it was John Pertwee episode. I could be wrong. It could be the Fourth Doctor. But there is a line back from Classic Who where the Doctor specifically says, I refer to myself as the Doctor. I am the definite article. So David Tennant is like, oh yeah, me too. I got you. It's again, one of those things that calls back to earlier, remembering the history. And if you know, you know, and it's one of those things that makes it really hit home because the Doctor, more than anybody, knows what it's like to go between bodies, male, female, whatever, because it's the Doctor regenerates. The Doctor can be more than one meat body. So gendered pronouns are not a thing for that, especially if you follow the Jodie Whittaker era, where we get into the timeless child and the Doctor is actually a creature from another dimension that, you know, but anyway, that's a whole other thing. So we go through this reveal, the Beep the Meep, this remarkable practical effect is not great, is actually evil, and tries to, you know, destroy London in an effort to change their to recharge their engine. And these evil looking bug people, the Wharf, are actually the good guys, because a lot of deception, their appearances can be deceiving. So this entire episode is about appearances and about what makes us who we are and about the inside. And it turns out that the reason that because when we last left Donna Noble, this thing called the meta crisis, she accidentally downloaded the entire Doctor's brain. And since he's the Doctor, he can handle all this stuff, but a human brain can't handle it. So he had to shut it off so her brain wouldn't overheat and die. But in order to save London, she has to access the meta crisis and become Dr. Donna once again. So she says, unlock it. I'm ready to go. If I have to die saving my child, I will do it. So the Doctor unlocks it. She becomes Dr. Donna, is able to access the secrets of the universe. And just when we think that she's dead because of it, it turns out that she has downloaded half of the meta crisis into her child. And Rose, also having the meta crisis, is able to access the Doctor's memories, save, you know, everybody, do her thing. And one of the biggest things about the end of time, when Donna's brain was being fried by the information, she just kept repeating binary, 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 binary. And then when we get to her freaking out again and going through this binary, 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 Rose is non-binary, and it's a 15-year payoff for this.
It is.
And
it was
the
huge.
The way that we can get through this is because it's not just one person handling it; it's two. It's not just a binary person; it's a non-binary person. Rose chose her name because of Rose Tyler. Rose had a shed that was reminiscent of the TARDIS. Rose made all these dolls that were reminiscent of Doctor Who creatures. And the way that they were able to survive the meta crisis is not only by splitting the burden, but by also letting go of the burden.
Yeah.
And it was a gigantic emotional moment. It was great. We lead into the new TARDIS. The new TARDIS is huge. It is benefiting from all of the Disney Plus money. It is now
Millions.
it is now wheelchair accessible,
So
that people who are wheelchair bound can have nice adventures.
When autistic people find a special interest, they go deep and have a lot of knowledge, even if they don't have that formal education background to go with it. If you want to capture your spin in a book, check out Angela's work at differencepress.com, differencepress.com, and find out more about becoming an author and establishing your credibility with a book.
So this leads into the second episode, which is a really Into the Wild Blue Yonder. Because as Donna accidentally did in her previous job, she poured coffee into the TARDIS, causing it to go haywire, and going into the complete edge of creation, where they meet these monsters from beyond creation that take the shape of the Doctor and Donna. And it's a very, very interesting Twilight Zone, Black Mirror-esque sort of thing.
It is.
Where they have to confront who they are, what they know about each other, what they know about themselves, what they know about these beings who are trying to exist but are not existing. It's a great, very psychological episode. And the fake out at the end, oh my God, that got me. I really, really thought that would be a thing. But I won't spoil that one. It's a really, really good one. But then we see Wilf at the end. And that was the only scene that Wilf was able to shoot for these episodes.
And then didn't he die minutes later?
Did.
Like that was the last thing he filmed. Like what a way to go. It was a great scene.
And that's the thing. Bernard Cribbins actually featured in Daleks 2150 AD with Peter Cushing, the second non-canon Doctor Who movie back in the 60s, which has officially been retconned as the Doctor meeting Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing making a movie about the Doctor in universe, and then the Doctor taking Peter Cushing to the future to film Rogue One instead of being digitally reanimated. So Bernard Cribbins has been there since the 60s. So Bernard Cribbins exists in the same universe as Wilf. So anyway, that was a heartbreaking scene there. So great to see him. But then we get into the giggle. And there's a body double for Wilf because they start off with him, and at the end, Wilf is still there because they don't want Bernard Cribbins or Wilf to die. Who does? Bernard Cribbins, by all accounts, is a very great guy. But the giggle, man, oh my God. It's it starts off with the true story of Stooky Bill and this horrifying first image broadcast on television back in the 1920s.
I don't know what you're talking about. It starts with NPH. Let's not jump to the plot when Neil Patrick Harris is blowing my mind.
So this is a thing about Neil Patrick Harris, because Neil Patrick Harris has worked with Russell T Davies before, because of course he did. And as Russell T Davies, Russell T Davies wanted to write an episode about Stooky Bill and then wanted a villain to create Stooky Bill. And he said, we have the Toymaker. We can bring the Toymaker back. But what if the Toymaker did this and juggled? What if he did this? What if he did this? What one human can juggle and dance and lip sync and do marionettes, do all these things? Neil Patrick Harris,
and
because
switch accents on a dime.
Yeah,
on a dime.
I swear to God, Neil Patrick Harris is a tour de force in this thing.
He really is
an omnipotent joker. He is so the original Toymaker was Michael Gough, who played Alfred in the 1989 Batman movie. So, and of course, he has died long ago. There was some very racially insensitive elements about the Toymaker's costumes. But that's why Russell T Davies wanted somebody who could switch between English and German and all French and all these other accents, because he wanted somebody to just play with the entirety of humanity as if humanity is a board game for him.
Right.
That he could try on all this stuff and he could do whatever he wants because he is an omnipotent Joker god. That he's Mr. Mxyzptlk and the Joker rolled into one, if you know who any of those characters are. If not, just realize that he is an omnipotent creature from a different dimension that can do whatever he wants and no one can stop him, not even the Doctor. Right. So Neil Patrick Harris, oh my God, he is so immensely entertaining, so terrifying. The Stooky Babbies attacking Donna. Donna saying, no, we're not going to have a puppet attack. I'm just going to mangle y'all. And it goes into this gigantic game of all this. The Neil Patrick Harris as the Toymaker taunts the Doctor with all of the companions he's lost since Donna, with all of these failures, with all of the trauma the Doctor has experienced throughout his lifetime, and how he has never stopped running since he was the first Doctor. And just says, yeah, you are broken. You are old. You need to sit down because you all of these things, you are traumatized. And the Doctor's like, well, I'm going to keep on going anyway. So back in the 60s, in the first in the first Toymaker appearance, the Doctor won the Toymaker's game and banished him. In this one, the Toymaker wins the game. And they said, you know what that means? Best 2 out of 3, because that's the rules of games. So,
but I think this is good also to bring up the autistic special interest of games and gaming. We talked about it in the trivia episode. Like, we've talked about strategy games. Like, this is definitely for me a huge special interest.
Oh yeah.
Whenever my sisters wanted me to keep a secret, they would bribe me with games. Like the number, like I'll play you 3 games if you don't tell mom this. So I love the way the special interest of gaming comes into this episode.
And this comes into the whole, because again, Unit is standing there. And so the whole plot about it is the Toymaker puts a secret giggle in this transmission. And once the entire world is connected to the internet, the giggle makes everyone think that they're right. And everyone is at war with each other because only they are the correct person. Because again, this is the Toymaker. So when we get back to this, the rules of the game, everybody at Unit says, you know, the Toymaker will cheat. And the Toymaker is horrified by this because he adheres to the rules of the games. Because that is the only rule that he has. He can turn people into bubbles. He can initiate a Spice Girls dance. He could do whatever he wants. But the game rules are absolute. And he can never, ever, ever disobey the rules of the game. So his big thing is...
And the Doctor knows this.
Yes. And that's because, again, instead of trying to fight him, he knows that he has to play him because that's the only chance he has, because those are the only rules that the Toymaker respects.
Yep.
So the Toymaker says, all right, yeah, we get best 2 out of 3. You bested me with one face, I bested you with another. I'm going to kill you and make a brand new one, so I'll play him. So he shoots the Doctor with a giant laser. So David Tennant starts to regenerate, says his famous Allons-y, and he's ready to go. And you're like, oh God, here it goes. Yeah, but he doesn't. And he's like, oh, it's different this time. And he gets his companions to yank on his arms. And I thought it was just going to explode and Ncuti Gatwa was going to be there. But he does bi-generation. And now David Tennant and Ncuti Gatwa can exist side by side thanks to the rules of the Toymaker. And so this is a big thing. So they team up. They defeat the Toymaker in a game of catch because the ball was a Chekhov's ball was all throughout the episode. And of course it came to a thing. But Russell T Davies has explained that this is a big thing that he wrote even before he knew who Ncuti Gatwa was going to play, even before he cast Ncuti Gatwa, even before he cast David Tennant. He knew that this was going to be a thing for the specific purpose of having the Doctor multiverse, because he wanted to be able to bring back prior Doctors and not have to de-age them using Marvel technology. Because now, using bi-generation, every Doctor in history now has the freedom to come back from their own timeline, because on a splitter timeline, they bi-generated instead of regenerated, which means that the timeline went on as normal. But let's say that you want the 4th Doctor to come back. oh God, what is the fourth Doctor's name?
Is it Baker?
Yes, Tom Baker.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you want Tom Baker to come back, you don't have to digitally de-age Tom Baker. He can just show up as an alternate universe bi-generated self. David Tennant can be there forever and play the 14th Doctor forever. Tom Baker can always be the 4th Doctor or the caretaker because he can be the caretaker now, which links into all that, the Day of the Doctor stuff. So it opens up literally a whole new universe of opportunities here. So Ncuti Gatwa explains that David Tennant is the Doctor that is burdened with the trauma, and he needs to go heal because Time Lords do rehab out of order. So the reason that Ncuti Gatwa is able to be the 15th Doctor unburdened with this stuff is because David Tennant is able to set aside time and heal for as long as he needs. So now we are in a brand new era. The Disney Plus era labels it as season 1 as opposed to season 65 because or series 15 or series 14 or all the numbering stuff because again Disney says we want people to start off from the first. So now Ncuti Gatwa is able to jump into the Doctor's shoes as this character who has a legacy but is not currently burdened by it because David Tennant is healing from all this stuff.
He's doing the rehab with Donna Noble. Where else would you want to do it?
And he finally has his family. He finally slowed down. He's the Doctor has lost many companions.
I think there was so much there about like the need for repair and the need for self-care that are like topics that we talk about here on the Autistic Culture podcast is like the Doctor was in deep burnout. And he is going to spend a long time having family dinners with Donna Noble.
Yeah. And that's the thing because this leaves the door open for Donna and for Rose. Wilf sadly is no longer with us, but I hope that they'll continue to have him off camera doing crazy things. And
I see a reemergence for Matt Smith.
Exactly. And all the Doctors now have the freedom to come back without trying to de-age or explain why the Doctor looks different than their previous appearances. Because, now they can just be in their own timelines. And it's a beautiful, simplistic explanation. I swear to God, I may or may not, I did bawl my eyes out at this because it was just watching the Doctor heal. Oh, the part that got me was because, the Doctors, plural, beat the Toymaker at his game. So they got a prize. David Tennant Ncuti Gatwa got the prize of locking the Toymaker away until next time. There's a whole thing with the Master. He transformed the Master into a gold tooth. Somebody got the gold tooth.
We found the gold tooth, yeah.
But so Ncuti Gatwa's prize was to imprison the Toymaker, but David Tennant also got a prize. And he was very sad that Ncuti Gatwa was going to fly off in the TARDIS because he didn't want to leave the TARDIS. But Ncuti Gatwa pulled a mallet out of nowhere, hit the TARDIS, and all of a sudden there's 2 TARDISes. So David Tennant got his TARDIS. Ncuti Gatwa got his TARDIS. It couldn't happen under anything but Toymaker logic because he got a prize. Anything he wanted his TARDIS. He wanted his family. Oh my God, it was the perfect ending to the episode.
Wait, the part that made you cry is when he hits the TARDIS and makes a second TARDIS.
Oh God, yes, he got his TARDIS, and there's 2 TARDISes. One TARDIS has a jukebox for Ncuti, and Tennant's like, yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't.
But he goes back to his TARDIS and is like, yes, this is home. I love you, TARDIS. And Ncudi's like, gotta go. I'm going everywhere. And then David's like, yes, I'm home.
Okay, I have one question before we end the Minisode, which is, why didn't he have pants on?
Oh, because they had to split the clothes. Because David got the undershirt, Ncuti got the outer shirt, Ncuti got the tie, David had no tie. David got the pants, Ncuti got the underwear, and Ncuti got the shoes, and David was barefoot.
Oh, yeah. I missed that. I just was very distracted by how perfect his legs are.
And that's the thing, because the Ncuti Gatwa is ripped.
Oh my
God.
God.
Cut. In the new episode, he's going to be wearing a kilt for the purpose of showing off, because he is
I'm good with
by
that.
all accounts, a very hot sex symbol. And they're like, hey, you know what sells? Sex.
And
So
I was sold. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like him. And then I was like, but maybe if he doesn't wear pants ever, I'm in because I'm enjoying looking at his legs a lot.
Yeah, because, the skinny man got to wear full clothing. The guy who's cut runs around half naked. So, yeah, the audience wins on that.
I need to immediately go explain this to my husband because he did not give me a satisfactory explanation. I made us pause it like 3 times because I'm like, I need to understand why his pants aren't on.
Yeah.
Now I got it.
Yeah, they split the clothing, which again, since he regenerated into new clothing, but again, that's probably a one-off, especially for plot purposes. But they split the clothing; they each got half the clothing.
All right, I gotta go. I gotta go explain all of this right now.
This is the way. So you listeners can go off and explain it to your loved ones. And if by the time you're hearing this, you've already seen the Christmas episode, it's about it's a very labyrinth-centered thing about the Goblin King, and it's going to be fantastic. There's musical numbers. Christmas episodes always have this adventure and heart-wrenching twist. I can't wait to see it. And by the time that you hear this, they may already be airing the new season on Disney Plus and the BBC iPlayer. So
it's true. We promise not to keep updating you every week on our love of Doctor Who, but if you share that love, we would love to hear about it. I will take your quotes to Russell T Davies' favorite coffee house in Cardiff as soon as I get to England, and I will bring him your messages because he's going to be my new best friend once I move there.
He's brilliant. Please kiss up to him for me and bring him to the podcast.
Perfect. Working on it. Bye, everyone.
Have a good one.
Thanks for listening to the Autistic Culture Podcast.
If you like this show, you can help other people find it by taking a few minutes to rate and review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts.
You can find out more about writing your book with me at differencepress.com. That's difference, DIFFERENCE, press, PRESS.com.
Or getting a psychological evaluation or consult with me at www.mattlowrylpp.com. That's MATT, Matt Lowry, LOWRY, LPP, as in licensed psychological practitioner.com.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. And remember,
no one ever changed the world by being like everyone else.
Special thanks to our content manager, River Robbins, and Aaron Stoner, our producer, for making us look and sound good.